Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to the holiday edition of Ghana Tonight. Baraka de Sanla to all our Muslim friends, brothers and sisters out there. We're live on news up here at Desa Wikanda, also live on Tuesday Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Okanse. Tonight, we'll find out what's going to happen next to the Member of Parliament-elect for the Asin North, Gyakye Quayson, in court following his victory in the by-election. There's a development that's just come through. Stay with us here on your Election Command Center. We have an update just coming through on Gyakye Quayson and the court case. It's breaking news. Stay with us. Also, we'll delve into the law on the dual citizenship, which has been challenged by legal luminaries. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. We will get into that. And the Eid celebration saw the slaughter of livestock in the various Muslim communities. We'll bring you an update on Anthrax outbreak and how the celebrations got affected or otherwise. Still with us here on Ghana Tonight. We'll bring you details of these, plus your comments as always. We're very, very interactive here on Ghana Tonight. Let's connect with you on Facebook and Twitter. The hashtag is Ghana Tonight. Let's settle for Ghana Brief.
President Akufo-Addo has urged new Patriotic Party supporters not to despair, but rather keep their heads up given the possible outcomes of loss or victory in elections. Congratulating the opposition National Democratic Congress for winning Tuesday's Asin North by-election, he noted that the outcome only further strengthened Ghana's democratic credentials. He further commended the Electoral Commission and its chairperson, the security services, for maintaining law and order, and the media for providing extensive coverage before, during, and after the elections. Residents of Asin North say they expect the completion of ongoing projects in their constituency despite a loss for the governing NPP in that election.
Maybe they overworked. That's why they are resting. But from tomorrow, we are hoping that they will continue.
This one, everything has ended and then they don't have any other option than to continue because probably next year they will come soliciting for vote again.
The Upper East Regional Public Health Emergency Management Committee has warned that only animals certified to have been vaccinated against anthrax before June 20 are allowed to be slaughtered for consumption. Such animals should be slaughtered under strict supervision by veterinary and environmental health officers, preferably at designated slaughterhouses or places certified by veterinary officers. A statement signed by the Chief Director of the Regional Coordinating Council on behalf of Regional Minister and Chairman of the Committee, Stephen Yakubu, indicated that the ban on movement of animals, sale, consumption of meat and meat products, and slaughtering of animals vaccinated after the stated date to check the spread of the anthrax outbreak remained in force. The ban applies to cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, and donkeys. Animals from neighboring Burkina Faso, Togo, and Niger are allowed to pass through the region after certification by veterinary officers at the various points of entry to the region. Community members are to avoid eating sick or dead animals. The measures are to contain the anthrax outbreak in the region in view of the Eid al-Adha celebrations characterized by the slaughtering, preparing, and sharing of meat. The Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry warns that Ghana will remain underdeveloped unless its mindset towards national development changes. Dr. Stephen Amoah, at a financial economic seminar in Accra, emphasizes the need for proper monetary policy management and financial loophole blocking.
.3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. Coming up next, Asin North Member of Parliament elects James Gyakye Quayson, as has been seen yesterday, playing out won the by-election on the ticket of the NDC, but prepares for the next phase of his case in the court of law. We have an update just coming through, some breaking news on the way forward and how this particular case is going to play out in the court of law here on Ghana Tonight. Stay with us, but let's give you a quick recall of what happened yesterday in the Asin North constituency and how the NDC supporters there celebrated the victory of James Gyakye Quayson. My colleague Eric Mauna Egbeta and Komla Kluche, who manned the election command team, came through with this report.
And so pure ecstasy from constituent here at Asin Breku, the hometown of James Gyakye Quayson, after he was formally declared victorious in the by-elections here. Komla Kluche is here with me as well, my colleague.
Well, you can't fault them. They wanted this, and this is what they got. But it's a strong signal that they are sending to the rest of the country. Whilst voting was ongoing, there was some level of roadworks. Irrespective of all of these, the people have thrown their weight behind James Gyakye Quayson. The coming days are going to be quite interesting. From Thursday thereabouts, James would be going back to court in as much as he continues to play his duty as an MP as well, because the House will be reconvening, and I'm quite sure on Thursday the Speaker would swear him in again.
James Gyakye Quayson at the Catholic Youth Center as well responded to the comments by the president and all of the controversy which has characterized his reign.
I believe in the rule of law, and I do things according to the law, right? And also I had the support of my constituent, all the people of Asin North, not just even Asin North, because people alone, my NDC fraternity, then I got people from even the other side of the aisle, which is MPP, who were supporting me. And the fundamental belief or value of legal system, you're innocent until proven guilty. So for him to say that, I think it's not a qualified statement.
For many of the MPs present and the bigwigs within the NDC, this will serve as a catalyst for elections 2024.
That's the assurance I can give them. And I know, come 2024, the three Asin constituencies, what has happened in Asin North is going to reflect in all the other two Asin North constituencies. We will make sure their vote counts and their vote will be collated. That I can assure you. James Gyakye Quayson is our colleague. He sits on our side. And we feel an injustice is being done to him. And an injustice to James Gyakye Quayson is an injustice to all of us on that side.
For the constituents here, though, it is absolute enjoyment.
It's a sweet day for the NDC family. We voted for Honorable James Gyakye Quayson in 2020 election, but the court wanted to tell us that we did not choose the right person or leader for the people of Asin North. Truth to be told, the people of Asin North has spoken again.
Since James Gyakye Quayson has won, we know that MPP is going to jail him. They should do that, and we are going to have another by-election. We will have by-election 10 times. We will vote for James Gyakye Quayson. That's all what we want.
Of course, you just look at the margin, 2020 election and this current by-election. You see the margin, meaning that the people of Asin North have decided. They love Gyakye Quayson.
For the National Communications Officer of the NDC, however, he has just one message.
Change is coming. Change is coming. Change is coming.
Eric Mawenagbeta and the rest of the team from Asin Breku here in the Asin North constituency.
And that's the team there who manned your election command centers, the center there, giving you all the details as things transpired yesterday. And kudos to them. But you know what? James Quayson's victory in the Asin North by-election is over, done deal. We're expecting, all things being equal, as our parliamentary correspondent indicated, Komla Kluche, that by Thursday, all things being equal, tomorrow, he may be sworn in into Parliament by the Speaker of Parliament. We'll see how things play out. But he faces up to 10 years in prison if found guilty of these 5 criminal charges. And there's a lot that's going on as to how things are going to play out beginning tomorrow. But before this by-election, he went to the Supreme Court claiming a number of things, which the court granted a few. Take a look. Now, earlier, these were that the Attorney General sought to prejudice the outcome of the trial, that the day-to-day trial would hamper, that's his campaign, and then that's what the court granted, and in fact gave him a leave to go and campaign ahead of the by-election, and that the Supreme Court judgment on the case as well was faulty. He also raised issues about a review and the various order for the day-to-day trial, which was granted, and then also justice must be seen to be done. These were the 5 that his lawyer Chachuchikata, sought from the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, as we saw, granted him that leave to go and campaign. He's won this by-election, but there's an update to the case going forward. And this is the breaking news that we're getting minutes ago. That's the news coming through. Our law correspondent who has been in court for the period since this James Quayson case has been playing out, Lord Edwasari, is with me in studio. Lord, what did the court say about how this case will be heard the last time James Quayson was in court?
Right, Alfred, so a quick one. So it was a high court presided over by Mary Gyakye Yanzu. You'd recall that on June 23, which was last week Friday, Gyakye Quayson's lawyers, led by lawyer Chachuchikata, filed a motion to halt the daily hearings of his case. Right now, the High Court dismissed that motion and ruled that starting July 4, there's going to be the hearing on a daily basis. But it was 2, right? So June 29, which is tomorrow. And then effectively from July 4, there's going to be the daily hearings. Now, the updates coming in is that there's been 2 suits against this, right? So
the 2 suits, the update on this is that the 2 suits against what? The agenda dates.
Exactly.
That's
the
tomorrow.
The daily hearings, which was decided by the court.
Tomorrow and July 4. What's the update?
So Terry Waja, one of the counsel for James Gyakye Quayson, filed an appeal against the daily hearings by the High Court at the Court of Appeal, right? He cites that there were errors in the ruling by the High Courts presided over by Justice Mary Yanzu. Among others, he stated that during the hearing, lawyer Chachuchikata had filed an affidavit citing instances where the Attorney General had made some prejudicial comments. And so they had outlined them in the affidavit and cited that it was relevant to the case, and so that's why they were calling for the halt in the daily hearings. But in the June 23 ruling by the court, the justice noted that this was not relevant to the case, and as such, threw it out. Now they are going to the Court of Appeal to review this.
I see.
The second suit is a stay of proceedings, right? You know, tomorrow they're back in court. I cited earlier that June 29, which is tomorrow, they're back in court for the proceedings to continue, because on 23rd of this month, the court had ruled that it will be adjourned on 29 and then 4th of July. Tomorrow, the case was supposed to continue, but with the stay of proceedings, it's going to actually be filed by the lead lawyer, right, lead counsel for Gyakye Quayson, lawyer Chachuchikata. He's going to file the stay of proceedings for the Court of Appeal motion to be heard before that case will continue. So that's where we are at right now. The relief sought at the Court of Appeal is, one, the reversal of the ruling of the court dated 23rd June. The ruling which
for the
was
day-to-day,
the daily hearings, right, calling for it to be reversed, citing the affidavit that there had been prejudicial comments by the Attorney General. And this time around, they even cited the comments by President Akufo-Addo during at Asin North
on Sunday.
You remember there's a tape where he's saying that
he would end up in court and so on. That statement has been cited in this latest one.
In the motion, because they're saying that because the court dismissed the affidavit which was filed citing a prejudicial comment by the Attorney General, the Attorney General, the President got emboldened and also reiterated the prejudicial comments
on that campaign platform
precisely
on Sunday, which has been roundly condemned by many.
Precisely.
And that is captured in this latest one. So that's the development coming through right now. There are 2 suits that has been filed. This is the appeals court, correct?
So the appeal has been filed at the Court of Appeal, but the stay of proceedings has been set at the Accra High Court, and this will be done tomorrow.
So there are 2. So the Accra High Court's particular case will be heard tomorrow.
Will be heard tomorrow.
And that's against the daily hearings that was ruled upon, that was on the 23rd of June. Okay, so, but the very, very critical takeaway from these 2 developments is that in the second suit, President Akufo-Addo's statement on Sunday concerning James Quayson that he is on his way to prison has been captured in there. And that would be very interesting to see how this particular case will play out, especially with that particular statement that's been captured. So with this one, the second suit, when is that gonna be heard as well?
So at the High Court tomorrow, the lawyer will obviously get permission so that the Court of Appeal case will also be heard. So once he calls for the stay of prosecution, stay of proceedings, then the Court of Appeal will also be. And I'd like to just read a bit of the motion where the President's comments are cited. So it says that the ruling of 23rd June 2023, which is the subject matter of the appeal filed on behalf of the accused, amounts to endorsing the conduct of the Attorney General, which was complained of in the application for review. That, apparently emboldened by the ruling of this court on 23rd June 2023, the extremely prejudicial, unjustified, and insulting remarks of the Attorney General were escalated to the level of the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That at a campaign rally for the candidate of the New Patriotic Party, the said President made many prejudicial remarks, including some to the effect that the voters in the Asin North constituency should not vote for a candidate who could end up in prison. So it's all been captured here in the motion, the suit filed by.
And so tomorrow you're going to be in court?
I'm going to be in court.
Definitely get some updates on this. So this is the development, the news just coming through concerning the way forward, or how this case of James Quayson is going to play out. So tomorrow, our court correspondent, Lord Edward Sari, will be in court, be updating you every step of the way how things play out with the new developments we're hearing with these 2 suits, which is going to be also laid by, that's James Quayson's lead counsel, Lawyer Chachi Jikata. We would look at that. But Bobby Bansing is a private legal practitioner. He's joining us on Zoom. Bansing, thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. First of all, is this victory of James Quayson going to have any impact? And just to answer the questions of many people who have sent us social media, any impact on the criminal case against him?
Well, from a legal point of view, I do not see how the fact that he's been elected as a member of parliament would have any influence on their prosecutions. Like we all know, the law is no respecter of persons, and there's supposed to be equality before the law. I have heard some arguments being made that now that he's been elected, then the Attorney General should drop the prosecutions. I find that very curious, in the sense that the minority leader himself is currently standing trial, and he started standing trial when he was elected member of parliament. And so the fact that he's been elected a member of parliament will not affect the scales of justice. At the end of the day, the burden of proof on the prosecution to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Mr. Quayson has committed the offense that they are prosecuting him for will not be lessened because Mr. Quayson has been elected a member of parliament, and it will not be worsened because Mr. Quayson has been elected a member of parliament. I understand the political undertones that, okay, it's the MPP that is in charge of the the Attorney General's department, and so they would be in charge of the prosecution, and it is an NDC person. But I've always maintained that the politicians should take the judiciary out of their politics, because if they bastardize the judiciary, it does not affect only politics, because political decisions are not the only decisions that go to the courts. And so they should allow the judiciary to do their work. At the end of the day, if the Attorney General is unable to prove beyond reasonable doubt the allegations that are being made against Mr. Quayson, I think it is very obvious the court would have no option than to acquit him. If the High Court convicts him and sentences him, and on appeal, he has the right to appeal against that decision. And if he's able to overturn it, so be it. And he has another bite at the cherry to the Supreme Court, and even another bite for review. And so I do not see how his election as a member of parliament will in any way affect the prosecution that is ongoing.
I see, but there's some developments to this, which we've just given to you. I know you're watching this and our viewers as well. That statement by the president on Sunday, that why should the Asin North people vote for someone who is on his way to jail, has actually been captured in this suit by the lead counsel of James Quayson, Chachu Chikota, which we're going to be hearing a lot more detail of tomorrow. Now, you're a private legal practitioner as well. Having heard this statement by the president and how that could also influence the outcome of this particular case, what's your view on it?
Well, if I was the president, I wouldn't have made that statement. That is my view. I wouldn't have made that statement because as somebody who holds that high office, your statement will be judged or will be scrutinized with a different lenses that somebody who does not. Remember, he's president not only for MPP persons or NDC persons, he's president for the whole of Ghana. So if the foremost duty of the president is to protect his citizens, and there's a Ghanaian citizen who is facing such prosecutions, then such comments by the president is completely prejudicial, and I'd say that it wasn't necessary. Let me put it that way. Now, the question of whether or not it has the tendency or the ability to influence the judicial system is where I see the hypocrisy in those that are making this argument. You see, in as much as the president, I wouldn't have made that the statement if I was the president, and I think it was wrong for him to have done that. We have been in this country where politicians, both sides, bastardize the judiciary when they think that decisions have not gone in their favor. Instead of looking at the merits of the case or looking at the legal argument, they tend to make social commentaries, emotional arguments, and political arguments, and try to tie every decision of the court to a political leaning. I think that is wrong. And you see where the NDC, because they have been affected or they stand being affected by this statement of the president, all of a sudden now thinks that the judiciary has some level of dignity and integrity that members who hold certain offices must protect. I agree. I completely agree with this call with the NDC. But I hope that based on what they are saying today, tomorrow, if there's a decision of any court that they do not find favorable to their cause, they will not turn around and bastardize the judiciary. Sometimes before decisions are even made, you see certain statements by political players which says, oh, if it goes this way, it means it is because he has been influenced. We should, as a society, begin to respect the judiciary for what it is. I have always maintained that the judiciary is the only arm of government that should be devoid of politicization. If we will politicize everything in our country, we should not politicize the judiciary, because that is the only place that we go to where there is conflict. Not only politicians, the ordinary citizens. So if the ordinary citizens who outnumber the politicians end up allowing the politicians to bastardize the judiciary so much so that the ordinary citizen will not have confidence in the judiciary, then we are telling the citizens to now take the law into their own hands and then carry out justice as they deem fit. And that would be very dangerous. So I agree that the president's decision maybe was not necessary, considering the high office he holds. If it had been made by any other person on any political platform, it wouldn't have been scrutinized the way that we are scrutinizing it because it came from the president. But on the other hand, if the NDC is now seeing it fit that the judiciary has some integrity and dignity, that the president should not be allowed to be seen to be influencing, they should remember it when there are decisions that do not go in their favor, and they should withhold from making statements that are equal or worse than what the president had said, even though the context may be different.
Bobby Bond saying, appreciate your time here on Ghana Tonight. It's a private legal practitioner. And on this, stay with us here.